A healthy diet and getting the right amount of vegetables into that diet is a really important part of modern day life. I'm going to show you a way today that's really easy to incorporate those vegetables, and it's also going to be extremely tasty. It's a grilled vegetable and mozzarella sandwich. So the first vegetable that we're going to start off with is this aubergine. Now you'll find sometimes when you're eating an aubergine that it might be a little bit bitter. We're going to take that bitterness off it today. We're going to start by taking it off the top, and we're going to take about 1/4 of an inch thick slices. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to salt that aubergine. We're going to leave it for about 10 minutes, and what the salt does is that draws out all that bitterness, and we're going to be left with a beautiful sweet aubergine. So now that I have my aubergine on the plate, I'm going to give it a generous sprinkling of salt, and we're going to set that to one side. And the next vegetable is the zucchini. And as you can see, we're cutting that at a nice angle. That'll give it a larger surface area with which to grill with. So now we're going to move on with our red pepper or red capsicum, whatever part of the world you live in. And we're just going to take the edges off it like that. And again, we just want to run the knife along that white membrane there. That's a really bitter part of the pepper, and we're really not interested in grilling that. We really want to keep that nice sweetness to the pepper. So we're just going to cut that at an angle, and that's our pepper ready to go. So now with the onions, I find that a very good tip is if you cook an onion or you're caramelizing an onion, it's going to fall apart because the onion's made up of lots of different little layers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a regular cocktail stick, and I'm just going to poke that straight through the onion, and what that'll do is that'll hold it together perfectly when we cook it, because we want a really nice whole crunchy onion. Now we're going to use a lot of fresh thyme in this dish, so a very easy way to pick your thyme. There's lots of little leaves dotted along that branch, and instead of picking each one individually, I'm going to start at the top, I'm going to run my hands all the way down that nice and slowly, and we get all the individual little leaves. So now we're pretty much ready to start making our sandwiches. So we're going to turn that heat onto a nice medium gas, and we're going to use a beautiful grill pan. Now what that does is that gets us those beautiful lines that you find in the vegetables. That's how you get it. We're going to put a little bit of olive oil in there, and at the same time as doing that, while I wait for that to heat up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pastry brush, and I'm going to lightly brush those vegetables, just as they've got the smallest amount of olive oil on them. We're also going to season them. We're not going to worry about the aubergines just at the moment because they're still drying out. So a nice bit of salt onto those vegetables. Never season them with pepper, because if you put pepper on them before they go on the grill, the pepper's going to burn and you're going to get a little bitter taste to it. So I think our pan's heating up nicely. We're ready to start grilling them. Just place them flat as you can in that pan, and you can hear that very slightly starting to sizzle. You don't want to hear any crazy big sizzle coming off that pan. So we're going to do a few peppers and a few nice zucchinis, and see the way they're holding together perfectly because of that cocktail stick. These vegetables are going to take about 3.5 minutes on each side. We're going to keep it on a nice low and even heat so that they don't burn too fast. Now as you can see with these vegetables, guys, they did on for about 3 minutes, and I'm going to start looking at them. What you'll find is they're all going to take different amounts of time to cook. So you just really need to be very vigilant and keep checking them. But that's starting to get some nice colour on it. You'll find that the zucchini will colour faster than anything else. But those are really looking tasty. Also flip over the pepper. They're starting to get some beautiful marks on those as well. Beautiful. See that lovely colour on it? And see the way those onions are really holding together nicely? There's beautiful colours there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle a little bit of our thyme onto each one. And that'll give it a really sort of earthy, very flavoursome. I can smell that thyme already. That's beautiful. So there we go. We're going to leave them on that side for 1 minute, and that's your grilled vegetables ready. Now, we only have the aubergines left to cook, so if you look underneath there, you can see that black water. That's the bitterness coming out of the aubergine, and that's what we're really looking for. But what we have to do is we salted these really heavily when we put the salt on top, so we don't want that salty taste. So we're just going to run them under a little bit of cold water very quickly like that and get any of that excess salt off. This is a crucial stage. It really will add an awful lot to your dish. So once they come out of the water, just a little piece of paper towel, and very gently we're going to pad them dry like that. Now make sure that you do get them dry, because if you don't, the water is going to stick to that grill and the aubergine is just going to be a big mushy mess. So now that the aubergines are dry, we're going to once again give them a little bit of a paint with our paintbrush. Not that it actually is a paintbrush, it's obviously a pastry brush. And we're just going to set them into the pan, and you're looking for that little light sizzle again. Now you just want to keep checking them every 10 seconds or so, but I think these are going to take about 1.5 minutes on each side. So now that one's been on for about 1 minute, and you can see those beautiful marks. That's exactly what we're looking for. So we're going to turn those over, give them another minute on the other side, and now we're ready to put our sandwich together. So now all we have to do is assemble our sandwiches. I'm going to cut the bread lengthways in half like that, and we're going to smear some of that beautiful pesto on there. Now if you want to make this pesto, you can find the recipe. It's with the linguine as one of our iFoods dishes. So you'll have to make that separately, and it really is worth making it at home. It's not half as good if you buy it from a jar. So we're going to smear that on nicely, and now we're going to get our lovely grilled vegetables, and we're just going to layer those on. And you can just tell by looking at the colours how full of flavour that's going to be. And you look at that, you can't tell me that that's not going to be a meal in itself. Now the last and final touch, the thing that really rounds it off, is some beautiful fresh mozzarella. When you're buying mozzarella, you want to look for something that tears apart like that. That to me is as good as it gets with a vegetarian sandwich. We're just going to put the little lid on it, just like that. And what we have to do now is put it into the oven and melt it for about 2 minutes, just so that mozzarella melts down all over those vegetables. So we're going to put it into an oven at about 200 degrees for just about 2 minutes.